Man. Welcome back to another episode of the Flagrant 2 with X and Lou. I am Lou. X is
I'm
right here
X.
to my to my left. To my left.
I think whatever
And
works.
yeah, whatever works. Yeah, man. We're back for another
Left
episode. We actually
again.
have a special guest today. One of X's friends. Uh he's a Boston Celtic fan. We're gonna razz him, we're gonna give him a hard time. Uh Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Kevin.
I
Kevin to
guess
the
so.
show. What's good, Kevin?
Good. How are you today?
We're
What's
good. We're
up?
good.
What's
I'm good.
up?
I'm good. I can't speak for X, but I'm good.
Good. Glad to hear.
I'm fantastic, man. The Warriors won last game, so I'm good.
They played well.
Yeah, man. Game 2 was a little bit of a beatdown. I was a little bit surprised. I thought that it would be a little bit closer, but then again, I'm not all that surprised. The Warriors are they're capable of doing that any given night. So I want to start off with Kevin. What was your takeaways from this game?
Honestly, that's what I expected from game one. I figured game one was going to be the blowout for the Warriors, especially after the Celtics coming off of 2 game sevens. I figured they'd be gassed out, but it went the other way where they were just coming in hot, at least in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the third quarter is what it was. So I kind of expected that to at least happen in one of them. Coming out with one game, not bad, but 18 or so turnovers, not how you're going to beat the Warriors, and playing sloppy and letting the Warriors beat them in the paint, not going to be how you win that game.
Yeah. How about you, X?
Game 2, I didn't expect the blowout. You know what I mean? It was good, bad, and ugly in that whole game. It was good with Jordan Poole. The bad was obviously getting smoked like that, and the ugly was, fourth quarter, you playing from I think it was like 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, you playing on the bench unit. You had Naismith in there, bro. It was ugly when you had Naismith in there in the finals. I'm saying here, like, oh, the game is over. Like, So,
no, I agree.
I didn't expect that in game 2. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, it was a beatdown, man. I mean, Dave, what I will say and what I will give credit to the Warriors to, they are a third quarter team. They always come out of the break and they either shoot lights out or they make the necessary adjustments defensively to be a better team. They've always been a third quarter team. I mean, you could look back to the 2014, their first playoff run. They was a third quarter team. The 73-9 win season, they was putting teams away in the third quarter and resting the entire fourth quarter. They've always been a third quarter team. So wasn't too surprised, but it was a little surprising that they did win in that fashion. I mean, they was up 29 points at one point.
Yeah, it was pretty.
But yeah, we talking about that. Let's talk about this. I wanted to ask my guy a question, Kev, because I've been seeing on SportsCenter and all that stuff about Tatum and everything. How do you feel about that? Y'all won game 1 where he was a facilitator. Yeah, lost game 2 when he dropped 30 and reverted back to the old him. What do you think, man? Which one do you think is better?
There's definitely happy medium, but I don't think he was the problem. Game 1, Horford went off, Smart went off, and Derek White, the anomaly that is him, went off. Game 2, 4 points combined for Horford and Smart. I don't expect Horford to score a lot. He's just gonna be the old man in the backcourt doing what he needs to do. Smart only scoring 2 points. I think he needs to step up a little bit more. Like, Tatum is going to get his, or if he doesn't, obviously Jaylen Brown is gonna. But both of them came to show up and play, at least on the scoring side. I think what it comes down to is when they are scoring, they need to do the drives instead of just shooting errant threes all day and making those, because they're going to open up the threes if they drive, and they're still going to get the fouls and the layups that way. So I'm fine with him scoring, but I think distributing to get the other guys involved too is what needed to happen, and they obviously had a very stale offense in that one and very stagnant. So you are right, but I'm down with him scoring.
Yeah. I need Tatum to put up 30, man. I don't care. Every game, I don't care. That's my guy.
Yeah. Well, we have the final score was 88 to 10 to 107. And a lot of that offense, a lot of that cushion came between the second and third quarter. That third quarter dagger from Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
How did that feel, man? Did you
rough.
like knew like that was game at that point?
That
You was
was
like,
rough.
that's game.
Yeah, I said to my roommate, well, that's over. We can go to bed now. And like, because there's a small glimmer of hope. Game 1 could be a repeat. And then that came in. I was like, oh, we're dead. It's over. It was done.
I mean, it's what I will say is when stuff like that happens, like especially at the end of a quarter, it's almost deflating. It's almost like what can we do? What can we do? I mean, and he was there. He just crossed half court, and he just knocks it down like it was nothing.
The only good thing is they weren't making a comeback at that time anyway. Like that would have been even worse.
That would have been worse. And the thing about it too is the one thing that you got to say about Jordan Poole is like up to that point in that game, he ain't really do anything. But it was just 2 back-to-back baskets where he hit Tice with the step back 3, and he comes down the court, hit a little between the behind the back type of joint on Pritchard and just right in his face from 39 feet.
Yeah, he
it's just like, come on. It was just like that set the tone for like not set the tone, but put icing on the cake where this is like, oh, this is over. So
I think what really set the tone in the beginning of the game was the aggressiveness of their defense. I think, always Draymond is a catalyst. He is their defensive anchor. He has to set the tone defensively. But I think when he started right in the beginning of the game, where I think it was a jump ball as soon as the tip, right? I think that right there set a spark because now you have Curry getting into the passing lanes, and he had like 2 or 3 steals getting into the passing lanes. Gotta check the stats. Yeah. Clay was getting into the passing lanes. He was being effective with his hands. Wiggins was being a little bit more aggressively on defense. And that was the catalyst. And then you have JP2 coming off the bench. GP2 coming off the bench and giving you quality defensive minutes, And I mean, the standing ovation for him, I know that that had to calm him down. You have jitters going in. This is your first finals. And then not to mention you're injured. You're coming back. You don't know how you're going to feel. You don't know how you're going to play. I think that standing ovation calmed his nerves just a tad bit, and he played excellent.
Yeah, and the foul or when he got fouled going for the layup and him being able to take that fall and just get up and block it off. I think that really woke him up and made him realize he could play.
I mean, they say in football, he missed both
free throws. But they say in football, you don't know when you're back until the first time you get hit, and I think that applies for any sport. You don't know the extent of how healed you are until you have that first contact. And that was his first contact. He was able to get up from it, because it's a little timid. You're a little afraid to do that again. I mean, imagine him trying to go and make that layup again. You're a little bit of antsy to do that again because you don't know how you're gonna fall.
And let's think about that. You know how eerily similar that exact layup was to the layup that he got slapped in the back of the head?
Yeah.
Like, I was sitting here looking like the same gather, left hand, everything. I was just sitting here like, yo, I was scared for him. Like, so, it's funny. But
okay, so with game 2 in the bag, I want to talk a little bit about more of the breakdown of game 2. So we see coming into this game, clearly Kerr made more adjustments than Udoka. I always get I always say his name wrong. Am I right? Am I right?
He put the first and last name together. He just
right. Yeah, but all right. So Kerr made his adjustments, right? Kevin, how do you feel going into knowing that you're up 1, you stole 1 in Golden State, you're coming into game 2? Did you feel that Boston made the necessary adjustments to win this game?
No, and I don't think they came out desperate enough. They need to play it like they were down. I mean, you don't even put them away until it's over with the Warriors, especially. I don't think they made the necessary adjustments. I mean, they switched up their offense completely from driving.
Do you feel
and
like
dishing.
there was a little bit more like relaxed? There was a little more
Yeah.
comfortable that they won that one.
And I mean, just going from the opening jump, like the Warriors played desperate. They played hard. They wanted it way more, at least in that game. And they didn't make the adjustments at all throughout the entire game, at least on the Celtics side. They didn't make any adjustments, it seemed, to change it until they put in the bench players. Then they actually started scoring.
It was a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little late back.
A little bit too late.
But yeah, I don't think they did much to do anything.
Right. X, do you feel that Golden State made enough adjustments that is going to carry them throughout the rest of the series, or was it just for game 2?
I think they made good adjustments. You saw they put my guy Balenciaga up in there. They put him in there, gave it a little space, and even though he's slow-footed on defense, he did his thing. He kept up. He did his best he could. Obviously the adjustment with GP3. I keep doing that. GP2 coming back was fantastic. It gave him more spark. It's literally like we could sit here and say how you was talking about how having Iguodala in there. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm glad he didn't play this game because it's just faster footing out there with GP2 actually being in there and picking up some of those minutes where he's getting around the courts. He's running on the break a lot faster. And it's just things like that Iguodala is not doing at that age. So it's like you got to have some of them young folks out there with the young folks they're going against in Boston, So I think those are some of the good adjustments that were made.
Well, you made the comparison before with Wiggins being what they expected Harrison Barnes to be. I think GP2 is exactly in the mode of Iggy. Defensive wise, I mean, you're not looking for him to necessarily go out there and score. You're looking for him to make timely shots when you need to, but you're looking for him to go out there and defend and play smart defense. I think definitely having Gary Payton was huge for them. I think it was more. It was more of a detriment to Gary Payton than it was to Iggy. I'd much rather have Gary Payton in that lineup than Iggy. And not to discredit Iggy. I think Iggy is a fantastic, smart basketball player. But I think that he's up there in age, and Gary Payton has fresher legs, and he can move just a little bit more better. Kevin, who is the one person on this team, other than Curry, who is the 1% on this team that you feel is their X factor? That you feel is that player that if Curry's double teamed, you don't want this other person to get the ball?
I mean, if I was gonna say X factor, I'd say Draymond, but scoring wise, I'm gonna drive it, and he's gonna get his buckets. But they just have too many weapons to even say one guy. But Wiggins, I think, is the more consistent of them for their weapons. But X factor wise, has to be Draymond. I know he's not going to score at all, really, but he's just going to be the guy on the court at all times. It's just the gnat, essentially, on your neck.
Right. I mean, he gets everybody into their position, offensively and defensively. He's their quarterback, and then he's their Mike linebacker. He's everywhere, calling them plays defensively and offensively. Do you feel that the Celtics have enough to win this series?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have the best record against the Warriors overall, but I know it's only regular season. Like, playoffs is where it counts. But they've proven they can beat them. Just look at game 1. Mm-hmm. It's just putting it together consistently in a long series. They just need to make the adjustments and make that third quarter adjustment that they haven't proven to do really at all in the playoffs.
Okay. Who, on both sides, win or lose, who would be your MVP pick from both sides?
Even
so
if
far.
even if Curry doesn't end up scoring the most amount of points, he should probably be the MVP. Just because if anybody else scores more, it's because he's getting double covered and he's doing so much. He's kind of one of those players that can obviously play stellar offense, but he's not like a LeBron James who's going to whip it on defense. He's going to show up and play defense too and get in the way. So I'd say him for that side. Right now, with the first 2 games, as much as I'd like to say your boy Tatum, it's probably going Brown. He scored the most in the first game. I know he was up there in the second game. He just has to get his turnovers down a little bit, and he's stellar on defense as well. So right now, in those 2, I'd say Brown and Curry.
So going into game 3, you have there's a consistency issue between Tatum and Brown. Like they never could be on the same page in the same game. I mean, well, I can't say never, but it's rare that when they're both going off, then everything is all right. But usually it's one or the other. Coming into game 3, I think the things that need to really change is you have Horford switching on to smaller guys like Curry and Poole. And I think that's an adjustment that they need to have. Whereas Smart has to be a little bit more aggressive on these picks. You know, you have to fight through these picks. I don't think that he was as aggressive. Do you see anything in that nature?
I'd agree. I mean, honestly, you should be fighting, especially him, fight through the picks until you start getting fouls, until you start racking them up. Then you have to be more cautious, especially the way he plays. Who knows? You fight through and you might get an illegal pick called for you.
Right.
And then that whole play gets turned over. But I agree. Like they haven't been playing aggressive, and maybe it's just that they're new to the finals and they're nervous. But it's game 2, game 3, time to wake up.
Yeah.
Okay, so
also let me ask you a question. You know, since he touched on, you know, the inconsistency of Tatum and Brown, let me ask you a question. Do you think that inconsistency between them creates an atmosphere where you're asking for too much from these other role guys? You know, like you said, the first game you had a huge game out of White. Now, when we went into game 2, we seen White have the ball a little bit as well too, because you know these 2 wasn't really going off. So it's like, do you think it's asking for too much for these other guys to play? Maybe this is the fight you need your guys.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, that's how they got there. Like being the team with a more diverse bench and team, where if somebody doesn't step up, the other guy can. Where that's how they beat the Heat, who only have one guy. That's how they beat Milwaukee, who at the time only had one. I mean, Middleton was there. It would have been a different series, but they only had one guy really that could show up and beat them, and they had the team to do it. I don't think it's asking too much for players like Smart or Horford to be able to do something. Maybe White, but he's stepped up. Like I want to ask Pritchard to put up 30 for sure. But you know, like the starters, it's not asking too much for them or Grant Williams to at least get like 20, 15 points, something like that. Which is just how they've done it the whole year, because the main 2 are so inconsistent.
Okay. I mean, I don't feel that way, but you know,
I
feel like they need to show up. I understand, but I feel like this is a point where this is how we got here. But
if you want to be the star, you got to show up.
You know, you got to show up.
You got to have a
you want me to be that guy. Exactly. Yeah. But I feel you. I feel you though. But you know, I still don't want the ball in White and Smart hand at certain times.
No,
we see how that
you live by games. Smart, you die by him.
But go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Lou.
Oh no, I was gonna say, man, I completely agree. More so with you than with Kevin, only because I mean, you look at Boston. I think that this matchup, I think they would have been better suited to play against like Phoenix. Phoenix would have been a better match because they match up better defensively and offensively with Phoenix. I think that defensive wise, yes, they match up perfect with the Warriors. I mean, they finished the season 1 and 2 respectively. Offensive wise, they're almost similar to Miami in that they get very stagnant. They they don't have a lot of half court motions, and honestly, that also comes from having a young coach that's still learning how to get your guys into different situations and having that experience.
I
I
also think
think
that's more
that
of a point guard problem.
I mean, I do
I
agree.
can't.
Smart.
Like,
I
that's
can't,
more
I can't
point guard
say.
than coaching. I ain't ever gonna lie, because and let's just say it like this: it's just certain people. When it's in your DNA to get other people in certain spots and making sure they're in their spots. As opposed to Smart, sometimes he'll check up a dumb shot, like he's the star, instead of getting Jaylen Brown or Tatum to run a little curl, a little pin down on the right and get them in their spot. He'll sit there just rather do set a screen, and he chuck up a three. I'm like, yo, you're not that guy. I'm sorry. You're that guy for us as Boston, but you're not that guy to take that shot at times. You know what I mean?
I mean, I see that, but then I don't, because then you look at okay, you could put it on Smart because he's running the offense, but it's the coach and
not
it's the
Smart, but I'm
sideline
just saying
that's calling
point
the
guard.
plays, So when things do get stagnant, there has to be set plays that'll get your guys going. There gotta be some kind of accountability on the coaching staff as well. To call the necessary plays that is gonna free up guys or that's gonna get your guys to the line.
But let's keep this 100. Kev, I know you're gonna agree on me with this one. How many times do you think the coach stops and tells Chris Paul to run a certain play?
Probably not that much, but it's Chris Paul.
Not as much. This Chris Paul. That's what I'm saying. What I say, it's in your DNA. It's certain people who's not set like that. So, like you said, it's not coaching, but it's still on the play, because you got to have.
They essentially have a shooting guard as a point guard.
I mean, but this is also what you get from a defensive minded point guard. Yeah. He is not an offensive minded point guard. And we've already discussed this in the last episode, that Marcus Smart is not somebody that could create their own shot. He is a spot up set shooter. So when the offense is breaking down and he has the ball in his hands, you have to get the ball into the hands of a playmaker that one could create their own shot, but also two that could create a shot for somebody else, somebody like Tatum, somebody like Jaylen Brown, where Jaylen Brown could get into the paint, maybe clog it a little bit so he could kick out to somebody like a Derek White, or Tatum, who necessarily he can hit you with a crossover, maybe do a step back, hit a three, or grab a double team and get it to the next open guy. Marcus Smart is not going to be that guy. So they have to go into it knowing that, all right, if we're going to be in a half court set, the ball cannot stick in Marcus Smart's hand. But that also comes from coaching. You have to know that coming into the half court, they already have their defense set. We have to go into a set play. What do? Bring Tatum up to the top and work your offense around that, or Jaylen, whichever one. But it can't stick with Smart, and it definitely can't stick. I mean, it can, but it can't with Horford. Because Horford is a good passer, but he's not. Don't put the ball on the floor.
He said, no, don't put Horford in that. But but like I said, I just think basketball is set more like they're at a point where they're hunting matchups, and yes, but that wastes a lot of clock. And I think instead of hunting matchups, they need to create advantages by running some of the off ball. That's what makes Golden State some of the toughest teams to beat, because they create advantages off ball. And the thing about it is, Boston has the perfect team for that too. If they just, you know what I mean. Like they talk about Smart and Draymond similar, like they could do it. Go ahead, Ken.
Sorry, they have three essential point guards on the team: Brown, Jaylen, and Smart, all at the same time. That's why they need to drive in, kick out, get the ball moving to create those matchups and those offense. So, last game, they didn't do that at all. They were wasting their time by doing the pick and rolls and just lazily kind of going around the court trying to figure it out. But I like Smart as the point guard, because he's the defensive guard that you need on the team. I mean, he didn't win DPOY for nothing. Yes, I don't want him taking the last shot of the game the way he does sometimes, but you're the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You take the good with the bad there.
Yeah. Okay, so still speaking on game 2, we're going to actually take it to a specific play where Draymond already had a technical. He gets into it with Jaylen Brown near the sideline. He fouls him on a 3-point shot. Jaylen Brown falls. Draymond falls on top of him. Getting up, Draymond tries to pull himself up. I guess he pulls his pants. Brown says he tried to pull his pants down. Draymond says he was just getting up. Oh, we're not even gonna get into the semantics of that, but I do want to start with Kevin. Do you feel that it should have been a double tech? Are you okay with the regular foul that it was called, or do you feel that Draymond should have been ejected?
As a Celtics fan, I would love the double technical, but it wasn't warranted. I think in this case, like it was like a bang play, whatever. Like a foul was there, but I think Draymond was doing Draymond things to piss him off or come off essentially by keeping his legs on his head and doing that whole stuff. But I don't really think he did anything overly wrong. And I don't even know if the refs even saw him try to pull his pants down. I didn't think he in the moment should have gotten the technical. Yeah, I would have loved it if he did, but I don't think it was warranted. I think it was fine, but I would expect him, the way he talked after the game, to probably get teed up pretty quick game 3 by the refs by like bragging about how he knew he wasn't going to get one.
X, how do you feel?
I mean, he kind of fouled him and then tried to mud stomp him in the back of the head, and then he got up and tried to show everybody his parts and stuff. You know what I mean? Draymond dirty. You know what I mean? He get under people's skin. I like it. You know what I mean? He got everybody face that game. He even got an Ime Udoka face. He had everybody mad on that sideline, and I think that at that point, I'm just over exaggerating what he did, but I don't think it was warranted a tech. I sounded like a Boston fan right there. I don't think it was warranted as a tech, but I just like it because he got under everybody's skin from that point on. He was under everybody's skin. He had Grant Williams. He was all in his chest. Tatum, he was drawn with him. I think he was under everybody's skin that whole game. And I think the next game they're not going to allow that. And they're going to be Boston going to be under Draymond's skin this game. They're going to come out tough because it's like they're going to look at that tape and be like, yo, Draymond just really, got punked every single one of us. Like literally, he was all like everybody's grill, like we soft, like we ain't going to take that next game. So I think next game it's going to come out crazy, but I don't think he was warranted a tech for that one.
The first tech that he received, do you think that one was warranted? Because I feel like there was more of an issue with the second, with that particular foul than it was with the first tech. Because he was just, it was an argument between the players. I get it. The refs want to assert, some sort of order. But it's the finals, bro. It's the finals. Let them draw. Let them play.
Shoot, I think the technical for tackling Grant Williams.
Trying to set a screen. A screen. But yeah, and then they call the foul on Grant Williams. I was looking at that like, yo, Warrior fan or not, like he just ran through Grant Williams. Like the defensive player has a right to be in a position as well. So it's like, come on.
Because if it was Giannis, I could understand if it was Giannis. Giannis has the superstar power where it could go either way. It's an offensive foul, but he might get that defensive call because it's Giannis. He's a superstar. Draymond is not a superstar. Draymond is a star, but he's not a superstar. He's not somebody you're giving a super max to. He's not somebody that's you're making your entire team over. So I do understand that. Him running. And it's not like that was the only play. He ran over like 3 or 4 Celtics players throughout that entire game, and I think he was only called for one offensive foul.
Physicality, baby. That's what they talking about this series. Everybody keeps talking about physicality. That's what he said. Oh, that's how they gonna let us play. You know what? I'm gonna do it. But Draymond's a master at doing this. You talk about everybody talk about this word about manipulating the game. We've seen it out there. Draymond does that the best out of anybody as well, just on the defensive side without the ball. He's not setting screens or doing nothing. Like even on the inbound, there was an inbound where he drew a foul on Tatum. It was early in the game. Draymond grabbed Tatum's arm to hold there for a second and acted like Tatum actually grabbed him. He just manipulates the game, and he got the foul call on Tatum. So he drew a foul on Tatum and a foul on Grant Williams in like a matter of 2 minutes and got them pissed off.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes you want on your team, and if he's on your team, you love him, but if he's not, you hate him. Absolutely hate him.
Nah, definitely. So what is our game 3 predictions? Like, who wins, who loses, who comes out on top?
Celtics, obviously.
What's
The
up?
Celtics
Do
by
you
like
think
4?
by 4 hour close game? Do you think?
Yeah,
Do you think this is the game where Brown and Tatum? This is their first home game in the finals, back in the Garden. Do you think they actually gonna have one of those games where they finally look like a tandem and both drop 25 plus points each?
that'd be great. I expect Horford to actually step up more in this one, and Marcus to like do the trio thing with probably Tatum. I don't know. Like Brown's been doing great the 2 games, so I'd love to see him continue it, but I don't know how long he keeps that consistency going. It would be obviously great if they could both do it, but I'd expect Smart, Horford, and Tatum to both get double-digit scores.
Okay. What about my man? What about my main man White? You know I gotta keep throwing him out there.
9-point average.
I'm just saying he came after I completely forgot his name. I had to say sorry, and he did his thing, and I'm like, yo, I forgot. I was just thinking of a third person off the bench. I was like, I just forgot his name, and he came out and said, yo, you gonna forget my name, and did his thing. So I just be like, all right, White, I expect something from you. Come on, I know role players at least got one good game out of them, but let's see if you got another one in you. You know what I mean?
He'll probably get a dirty block or 2.
Do.
He'll probably get a nice steal, good block.
He's a nice guy, so.
Yeah.
What I will say is the Celtics have proven that they're a better road team than a home team. And that goes into the season as well. You look at the season and they've won majority of the games on the road. I think that game 3 will go in the favor of the Warriors. I think they will steal a game. They will win back home court advantage. But game 4 is going to be one of those toss-ups in the air. And I think whoever wins game 4 wins this series. That I will say.
Yes.
The only thing to defend the Celtics home game is they usually play like garbage and after a good game, and then they play really well after a bad game.
Yeah, that's what I was really thinking, because I'm like, they're like 6-0. What is it? Them that's 6-0 after a loss?
Well, the Warriors were too.
Yeah, it was one of them. Both of them was on some.
Yeah,
both of them was on some like. Yeah, on the streak where it's just like after a loss they do not lose. Yeah. So it's like this game is gonna be a tough one. It's in the Garden, you know what I mean? So role plays the Warriors, you don't know how they're gonna play. Jordan Poole came and finally showed something, so he might have some life coming into this game. So that's one thing you got to be worried about as a Boston fan. But I want the Warriors to at least take this one early, the first one on the Garden, to sap some soul out of their life. But I think Boston gonna come out and show out and actually get this game right here. I ain't gonna lie.
I think so.
I think also you look at Klay in all of these rounds, he has started to look like Klay halftime after every game 3. So I think Klay is going to be a catalyst in game 3, and then going forward, he might battle Curry. I still think Curry, if they win these finals, I think that Curry's still going to win MVP, but he might be up there for finals MVP, because I mean, Klay, they get the game 6 Klay, but I mean, you got to look at game 4 and game 5 Klay too. I mean, game 4s and game 5s in the finals, he's averaged 26 points. So game 6 in the finals, he's averaged 30 something points. I got to look at the numbers, but I mean, he's been consistent after game 3. So I think he's going to be a catalyst. So my money is on the Warriors to win game 3. If there's any game for the Celtics to win, I think this is the game for them to win. You want to go back to Golden State tied up. I don't think that they're going to win both games, but you want to go back to Golden State tied up. You do not want to go back to Golden State down 3-1 at all.
God, no. I don't want to go 7. I don't want to go back to that Golden State in game 7. We need 6.
Hey, that might actually be y'all home court advantage. Y'all play better on the road. You feel me? So
Yeah,
who
that's
knows? Who
That's
knows?
true. That's true.
All right, so moving on from the NBA Finals, we have this thing that's trending right now. It's trending on Twitter, ESPN, Bleacher Report is everywhere right now, where Adam Silver has basically stated that he would like to shorten the season some way, somehow. He wants to bring in a tournament, an in-season tournament, but he would like to shorten the season. We're gonna start off with Kevin. Kevin, do you feel that we should shorten the season, the NBA season, or should we keep it the way it is, but also keep the playing? Because they are talking about the in-season tournament as well.
I mean, I'd have to see what the structure is for that, the tournament, but I like the play-in game. It adds some spice to it, gets that extra team in there that probably wouldn't have been there anyway. And what was it this year? The actual, like the 9th seed won, right? For one of them, I think.
I don't
If I'm
believe
not
so.
mistaken.
Was it the Pelicans?
Yeah, I think it was the Pelicans. And like they did, like they played their mind out and won. So I think it's fun to do it that way. But I mean, a mid-season tournament would be cool, but I don't know how it would play. Like obviously, how long would they shorten it? Like 60 game season, 67 game season?
Yeah, I think they said like 65 or something like that.
Yeah. I kind of like where it's at now, but I definitely see more money if there's an in-season tournament for sure for the NBA.
And honestly, it's based on what teams they're doing because it's,
Yeah.
if you're it's for the money. I don't know. It depends on how the season goes. But I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you and shit.
No, you're good. You're good. On to you guys.
But yeah. No, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie with the in tournament, tournaments is something that, bring more fanfare. So that's one reason why, looking at that, it's gonna be better. We think of March Madness and tournaments like that. So it's like that's gonna be something that'll bring more eyes on it because it's more meaningful. And it takes away from some of those useless games at the end of the season. Now more games at 65 regular season, more of those games are worth way more. So you can't really have a real slump. You got to come out at your best. You can't have too much load management. You can't have that because those games count. And also you'll get some rest, with the mid-season tournament. If you're not in it, you actually get some rest. It depends on how they got everything structured. So like you said, we got to see how the structure goes. But at the end of the day, having games more meaningful and then falling straight into a play-in tournament create a bigger dynamic and make it more competitive throughout the year where nobody's really trying to tank. Or the tankathon might start early. It depends on how you look at it.
Tank starts at game 5.
I don't think I agree with the play-in tournament. I mean, well, not the play-in tournament, but with the in-season tournament, only because you already have in-season tournaments with college basketball, and I like the structure that they have with college basketball. But when you implement it with guys that's making millions of dollars a year, you want them to not only earn their money by playing the games, but by earning their money by getting to the playoffs. What's the point of having a play-in season if it has nothing to do with the playoffs? In my opinion, a play-in season is the playoffs. So when you look at it from that aspect, you're asking these guys to sacrifice millions of dollars on their end because you're already giving them a contract to play 82 games, right? Now you have to you're gonna maybe have to restructure these contracts, maybe or finagle different things. And then what happens with guys like Bill or Levine that are up for contracts that can potentially go to a different team, and they might be losing money on a max contract situation because of a play-in tournament or because of games that may be taken away from them. I think the 82 game structure is fine. This has been the structure for 60, 70 years now. I mean, 75 years this league has been going on. It's been the structure. Why change that if it's worked? Now the play-in tournament. No, go ahead.
I mean, at the end of the day, I understand if it ain't broke, don't break it. But we have seen the ratings drop. So it's like they got to do something. They got to spice it up, and that's the reason why they want to end season tournament. They actually try to spice some things up, and it's guess what? Try this for a year or two, see how it go, and guess what? If you don't like it, you go right back.
What's the incentive for the owners to even do that? They're making bank right now, or even the players that want to play in that tournament. Like, what the Lakers go to the tournament, but LeBron's like, I can sit this one out because I'm gonna have playoffs coming.
Well, I mean, it's
based on the incentives, but go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to do a play-in tournament, then it has to be something where it still folds into the regular season. I mean, imagine doing a playing. I mean, in-season tournament, right? You're doing an in-season tournament, but you're still playing 82 games a season, right? So let's say we get to 41 games. Now, from 41 to 82, you could do an in-season tournament, and that will be what you would get to your playoff bracketing, right? So you play a series, right? So let's say we do a series with the Knicks and the Nets, or Lakers and Clippers, right? You do 7-game series or whatever, and whoever wins goes to play this team while this team goes to play that team. So instead of doing back-to-backs and you're cluttering this season, it kind of spreads it open, and from 41 game in the season, 42 game to 82 games, it's a little bit more structured, where you're not traveling so much. There's not as much wear and tear on these players' bodies. That I could actually understand, and that kind of aspect.
That sounds like you just need to change the schedule and how they. What you just said, all they got to do is just change the schedule, and they got to do nothing. Huh?
But if
sorry, you
like that just. That just
I'm saying if that's the case, then do that. But I've always had a problem with the scheduling. You look at the scheduling, and you got teams playing. Now certain back-to-backs I understand. Like I'll play you home, then I'll play you away, but it's a back-to-back. But those teams are like. And 3 hours away, like it's a bus ride. It's
back-to-backs. So back-to-backs are like same size, same conference type of thing. But
Boston and New York.
Yeah, like it's not gonna be nothing. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like I said, I like the structure now, but I'm like at the end of the day, they got to think of ratings, and the thing is, the higher the ratings, the more the players get paid. So that's got to be some type of incentive, because at the end of the day, if the ratings keep getting lower, I don't know how long China's gonna hold the watching viewers and keep until it gets stagnant. Because once LeBron leaves, that's what you got to think. You got to think about when LeBron leaves. Let's keep it on.
Take a dip for sure, but
exactly. So that's the reason why they really got to sit here and think about implementing something different. Because at the end of the day,
they got Bronny coming.
Anyway, some of your biggest goddamn Ronnie. Anyway, some of your biggest stars are going to be gone in a few years. And who are we looking at now? Like, it's nobody right now that you look at like, yo, that is really they trying to push and find the face of the league right now in the midst of all of this. Nobody stands out as like, oh my God, that's him.
The league has gone through this over and over again. Larry Bird, Johnson. Michael Jordan, LeBron, they're just going to rotate over to KD or Tatum or somebody else. Yeah, Giannis. They're making Giannis. Like, they have great players out there. So the league will be okay. They'll take a small dip, but I don't think they need the play or the mid-season.
Yeah, I don't either. And then on top of that, if you really want to make things a little bit more competitive, start the season a little bit earlier, like what they did with this year, but also give the All-Star game a playoff feel. Get these guys. You could have almost like a football kind of like a football fantasy draft where you're drafting maybe 2 or 4 teams, and then you take these teams, and then you have all these all-stars playing against each other for a whole week. You
Yeah, that
know,
sounds good. But now, you know what's that going to do? That's going to saturate the all-star voting type of thing. As far as like, oh, this guy's an all-star. You know, we already got asterisks next to a lot of guys' name as all-stars.
but
Now, if you go from 12 all-stars, what is it? 12 all-stars on each team, something like that.
yeah,
So now you have 20. Now you
24.
went from 24 to
But look,
48. So now,
but look,
how much of the league is making an all-star game now?
but
And it's just
look how
like,
many all-stars get snubbed. Look how many players that should be there don't even get to be there because they play the same position.
I feel
So
you
you're
on that
giving them an
one.
opportunity to become an all-star as well.
But I still think it kind of saturates. I like it though, but it's still gonna saturate the voting too. Where it's just like, damn, LaMelo
It's
made
already
it in because of
saturated.
injuries, huh?
Yeah, it's already
You already-
saturated.
Yeah, you have trash, but like it's just a.
I mean, I
popularity
can't lie.
thing.
Wiggins was a starter.
I mean, okay. Let's take all the NBA first teams and have them go against the NBA defensive
Yeah.
teams. Like all
That'd be a good All-Star
the
game.
NBA teams, or all NBAs versus the all defensive teams. Like that'd be dope.
Man, wait, Giannis is gonna guard himself. They're gonna put the other Giannis on.
No,
the
but I mean,
team,
if you would mix and match, you would mix and match. I mean, but look, there's three of them. You know, there's three of them. There's three teams, and you would take, players from.
I'm just messing with you,
right? But I mean, I think that there's ways to make it more exciting,
more interesting. I like the thing if they would have had like a tournament, all-star tournament, because that dunk contest and all of that, you can replace that like the first people.
Oh, yeah, they need to fix the whole All-Star game.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Or at least do this. At least have the all-star voting where you got the first team that's voted in, right? So the best of the best, and now you have the two next teams actually go against each other the day before. Whoever wins out of that plays the actual all-star players.
That'd be dope too. I think that there's different ways in
one
order.
extra team. Go ahead.
There's so many different ways in order to make especially the All-Star break should be a spectacle. These are the best players on the planet going against each other, and they don't play defense. There's no incentive. There's no drive. There's no. It's all. It's all, to me, it's fabricated. And then on top of that, you have.
Nobody really cares about that anymore. I ain't gonna lie, because we talk about so much about championships and all that, so everybody's gearing up for the postseason.
Yeah, but let's make it, more of a thing where it's like, we got these guys, the best players on the planet, and this is bragging rights. This is not only.
But they gotta do that, because I think one year we had it where it was just like they first added the Kobe rule. They first added the Kobe rule. Mm-hmm. That's when it was competitive. That's when it started. Like, it's up to the guys who's out there who actually want to do that. But everybody's, you gotta still be scary of injuries. Your contract might be up next year. You gotta, you fight for a new contract. This, that, and the third. You made an all-star game. You don't want to get hurt.
But
a lot of these people play like that.
That's true. Yeah, you can't play scared. Yeah,
But trust me, but that's the way we are. I would go out there, hey, I'll play my game. But you gotta understand, a lot of these guys, how many of these guys you see out there playing like they just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, they're just having just yucking
just
it up,
casual
throwing the ball at each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel like we're stuck on this topic. Before I move on to the next topic. Do we agree with or not agree with them keeping the 82 game season?
I'm with you, Lou. Keep it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with keeping the 82 simply because it's like, so much stats, so much history, so much this, that, and the third that's gone into that. Now if you got 65 games and somebody averaged a triple-double for 65 games, it's like, oh, you only did it for 65 games.
Yeah.
As opposed
right,
to
there's more of an asterisk. It's kind of like with football where they added a game, so now it's kind of like numbers are a little bit inflated, but in this case, it kind of be deflated in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving forward, do we like the format of the play-in, or can we expand on the play-in? Can that become an in-season tournament? Or a late season, I would say a late season tournament.
I mean, it is a late season tournament already. It's the end
Right,
of the season tournament,
but would you make it
I don't
into
know.
an
I think
actual
it's
series, or should we keep it sudden death the way it is right now?
sudden death the way it is. At the end of the day, if you were the worst, if you the 10th place, you don't deserve to play 2-3 games. You had 82 games for that. You had 82 games for that to have a better record. So sudden death, baby, for you. Guess what? The next seeds actually have a second chance to actually play. Or if I lose to this team, since I actually won, I get a second chance. But if you're the 10th seed, you only get one shot. That's it.
Right.
You get it. How Eminem say, if you had one shot, one opportunity, would you capture it or just let it slip?
Okay, so the next topic. Quinn Snyder has stepped down as the head coach of the Utah Jazz. What is the state of the Utah Jazz? Are they going to go into full rebuild? Will they will they gather around a new coach and move forward? Where are we? Where is
Go
Utah?
ahead, Kenny. Go ahead, Ken. What was that? Stick a fork in them. They're done.
So what do you do? What do you do? Do you keep Donovan? Do you keep do you blow up the team? Like what happens?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. You probably blow that thing up. I ain't gonna hold you because at the end of the day, if you get rid of Gobert, you ain't really got any defenders on that team. What are you really gonna get for Gobert? There's opportunities to get things, but come on, like what better can you get from Gobert? Your best option is to trade Donovan Mitchell, and it's like that's Donovan Mitchell. That's still one of your best players, regardless. This guy's putting up 45 in the bubble. They going back and forth with Denver, and it don't matter. They losing regardless in the finals, but he's still putting up great numbers. At the end of the day, it's just about having a better supporting cast around him. You gotta understand, his next playmakers was old guys.
Yeah,
old guys, Conley. I can't even say the names right now.
And it's not like Utah is a destination. You know what I'm saying? It's not like people want to go to Utah. Yeah. So I think I do agree with it. I think that at this point they do need to blow it up. Obviously see what you could get from Gobert. You know what you can get from Donovan. And people is going to throw money at them. I mean, you have Miami, you have New York, you have a couple of teams that's in the mix that want Donovan. But now it just comes down to either him asking for the trade or demanding his way out, or them understanding that they're in a flux right now and they need to blow this team up. Who would you see as a potential candidate for coaching for the Jazz?
Honestly, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't even know. But since we're on the topic of coaching, you know me, I be trying to get a little spicy with it. And I know Quinn started talking about step down and stuff, right? But do we think he just really stepped down, or it was one of those conversations where it's like, you have one of those conversations like, yeah, we gonna release you, but I'd rather be nice to be like, yo, you stepped down. Do you think you think that was the talk, or he just really was just like, you know what? Screw these two guys.
I mean, I don't think that was the talk, because you look at it from a different perspective. He gets fired, he still gets paid. He steps down, he doesn't get paid. So I think that it was him making that decision for him to step down. That's
brilliant. Yeah, that's smart for him. But anyway, like I was gonna say, I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, you got two stars on your team who just don't get along. Like, and it's just like, regardless, it seems like that bond is gonna be, you know what I mean? You need somebody who could really nurture that bond between them two, and I don't think it's even gonna happen. So it's like, I think for him, it was a better thing to step down anyway and really just get out of that situation, period.
I know Mark Jackson's looking for a job.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark. Oh, yes. Mark's always a candidate for everything.
Yeah, Mark's always a candidate.
A candidate for everything, and nobody hires him.
So
somebody got to take a chance.
So hypothetically, we're blowing this team up. Where do you see, or what's a good fit for Gobert and Mitchell to go to?
Good fit or realistic fit?
Both.
Mitchell, good fit for Mitchell would be like the Mavericks and Gobert, really. Either one of those guys are the Mavericks. And now it's not going to happen because of the West, but that team needs a big guy, and they also need somebody else other than Luka to bring the ball up. And he's Cuban's thirsty for a ring, so he would give almost anything to get it. but trading in the West, I doubt that's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say because Donovan Mitchell's shortcomings on defense. You gotta say a team like Miami, who just literally went to the finals the year before. Now they was in the conference final, and we could see their situation was they didn't have any scorers, somebody who could really just put the pressure on other than Butler. So that would be like a dream destination for him. For Gobert got to go to a place like he said, the Mavs, because it's just like literally someone who could spoon feed him, because we know his hands are finicky. He can't. Yeah, Gobert can't put the ball on the floor, so you got a guy like Luka who can just throw the ball up close to the rim, because neither Conley or Donovan Mitchell did that well. Donovan Mitchell did that one time all year last season, and I think they was in the playoff game. They won a playoff game because of that. And I was like his first pass all season to him like that, and obviously I was even shocked that he threw it to him. So it's just like, I don't know, Gobert, a place like the Mavs, I would agree with Kevin on that one.
I'd say I'm gonna be the wild card here. I'd say a good destination for Donovan to go to is the Lakers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers outside of LeBron don't have a playmaker. They don't have somebody that could create their own shot. You're not relying on Russ to create his own shot. You're not relying on AD to create his own shot, and AD can't stay healthy.
Wait, that's your dream. That's the dream scenario, right? Or because that ain't realistic.
I mean, I would no, it's not realistic. It's not realistic. I would say I'm saying that would be the best fit for him to go to. Like, say if he was a free agent, the best fit for him to go to
defense around him. That's
but look. You have exactly. Donovan coming into a situation, but look, this is the situation that I would present. I would do a three-team trade, right? Where you have Donovan, and I would send also what's his face? Not Bogdanovich, but the Aussie. What's his name? The Australian dude.
Isn't it?
The D&3. Not Bog.
Bro, they ain't got no other.
Yeah, the other white dude, he started coming off the bench this year. He started coming off the bench this year. He be lighting it up sometimes.
The only other one I know got traded.
I gotta look. I gotta look at it.
I ain't gonna lie. The only other one I know got traded. That's what I was trying to think of.
Nah, he's still there. He's still there. So you take
Hernan Gomez.
I'm talking about who?
I'm gonna butcher his name. Hernan Gomez.
Yeah, you said it right.
Tatted up, dude. He's all tatted up.
Hernan.
No. Not Hernan Gomez. Okay. I was talking about oh yeah, he did get traded.
I told you, bro. That's
okay.
Come on.
All right. So you take I would take Bog then. Take Bog. You take Bog. I'll take Bog, Clarkson, and Donovan Mitchell. Right? In the three-team trade. Matter of fact, throw in Rudy Gobert, because we gonna ship this out, right? So Donovan Mitchell and Bog go to the Lakers. Rudy Gobert and Jordan Clarkson, they're gonna go to Miami. And then what you're gonna do is, matter of fact, no, Bog and Rudy Gobert. Clarkson and Rudy Gobert, they're gonna go to Atlanta. And what you're gonna give up from Atlanta, you're gonna give up whatchamacallit? What's the power forward? Yeah, you would give up Capella and other homeboy who was upset with his contract. He wanted a bigger contract.
Talk about. I forgot his name. Light skinned dude.
Right. You send them to Utah. And the Lakers give up. Well, I mean, obviously you can't give up picks. So maybe you give up Russ. Maybe send Russ to Utah.
That's the only person who can match the contract.
Yeah. So I'll probably send Russ to Utah, and maybe you could get a sign and trade out of Melo and send him to Atlanta as well. I mean that's your best bet.
Man, listen, that whole trade, Utah got nothing.
I mean, but
They ain't doing that.
they already have nothing. You look at it, they already have nothing. I mean, they're not going to
get some.
It doesn't matter what coach you bring in.
Get something out of there, like you
get some picks. You get some picks. Atlanta sent some picks. Atlanta sent some picks and cash consideration.
Yeah, I mean, the way he was just talking, it's just this. That
I mean, Russ's money will line up with Donovan's. So I mean,
well, you got Gobert, and you know what I mean. Gobert just got a max as well.
Because
he got a big contract.
Donovan's contract because I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson's like one of the top 5 players paid next year, and he's in front of LeBron.
Bro, it's like I don't know, but it ain't gonna work.
Something got to give. Something.
It don't work. That trade don't sound good.
It don't. I'm just throwing it out there. It don't sound good. But I mean, realistically, it's like when you look at it realistically, it's like not a lot of teams not only have the cap space to take on massive contracts like Donovan or Gobert, but also do they have the space? Do they need another star?
Miami
like
can make it work, literally.
I mean, Miami can, but you're gonna give up. You're gonna give up what? Duncan Robinson and the 6 man of the year. Hero.
Yeah, for a guy who could actually handle the rock and put up this amount of points both of them could put up
and play a little defense. Duncan he played garbage minutes.
Garbage.
Yeah, true.
I don't even know why Hero won 6 man of the year for what he did in the playoffs. They should have taken that away from
him. So it's like, yeah, I would give them up, but yeah, I don't know. What were you gonna say, Kenny? You was gonna say something else?
The good thing for the Jazz is they got Danny Ainge there, the GM now, I think, or he's in their NBA office. Yeah, he'll like slick murder a team for a trade. Like he does not care. I mean, look at
that's what I was saying here. Saying that trade he was talking about ain't make no sense. Cause Danny Ainge, the way he moved, is different. You know, he was in Boston. He was. Yeah. They didn't even want to answer his phone call after a while. Like, nah, I ain't talking to you.
That's why I think most likely the Jazz are going to keep Gobert. Because
and trade Donovan, you'll get more from
getting young point guards.
You're gonna get more for Donovan. Yeah, I agree with that.
He's drafted a point guard every year for 10 years when they've had starters. So Donovan's
one of them going to work
in Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I probably the Heat are probably who are going to land him.
I'm not mad at it. I think the Heat, they could use him. They could definitely use him.
No more power to the East, man.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode with our special guest Kevin. Kevin, thank you so much for being a part of this. We're gonna bring you back if the Celtics lose. Only if the Celtics lose, we're gonna bring you back.
No. You know what I was telling? I was telling him, Kev. I was like, yo, it would have been so much better if we had brought him after game 1, but we wasn't really clicking too well. It would have been fantastic. So, like, hopefully, I take game 3 and I can see you again.
Right?
Look, win or lose. If the Celtics win, if the Celtics lose, we're gonna bring you back to
you're always welcome.
I'll be glad to come back. Win or lose, I don't mind.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. This is I don't even know if this is an episode number, but thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of The Flagrant 2 with X and Lou. Special guest Kevin Kenny. Like, subscribe.
You already know the vibes, man. Like, share, sub, and all the above. You feel me?
Yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this episode, and we will see you guys tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow before the start of Game 3, and we'll try to get a Golden State fan in here to talk some Boston junk.
Your hair looks weird, by the way.